I'm going to turn the floor over to Leyland Bradley, who wears a number of hats currently, but I'll highlight that she's the news editor for the online publication, or the on-campus, excuse me, publication, the Meliorist.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I just want to say that it's a real privilege and honor to be sitting at a table with some pretty intimidating people, and so thank you. So just bear with me. Yes, my name is Leyland Bradley. I'm currently the news editor at the Meliorist. I am a 2-year ongoing board member for the Lethbridge Public Interest Research Group. And formerly, last year, I was the Vice President of Operations and Finance for the University of Lethbridge Students Union. It was the best job I ever had. So I've done my time in being involved in student-led organizations at the University of Lethbridge. And I guess what I would like to talk to you about today is the importance of student organizations and facing crisis such that we are facing right now. And just a little bit about myself. I get a little person at the end, just what the average student is probably thinking of what's going on right now. So I want to start with a piece of advice I received just as I was entering into the Students' Union. A friend of mine who was leaving the Students' Union told me something that I would never forget. And it was that there is a split between students who understand what's going on and students who have the potential to care about things that are going on, and versus students who really don't care. You have to think of it sort of like scale. There is a top 10% of students who are highly involved. These are students who are engaged in clubs. They're involved in the Pride Center, the Women's Center, the Students' Union, the Meliorist, CKXU, radio, you name it. I don't think I missed anything there. LPIRG, of course. These are about 10% of students. They're politically conscious, they're socially aware, and they're active. And I see faces here in this room, which is really cool. And there's about a 40 to 60% in the middle that have the potential to care. And I think that these students, as my friend had told me, they want to care. They want to get involved, they just don't know how. And it's the 10%'s job to sort of let them know, to sort of give them the olive branch and say, this is why you should care. It's our job to inform you. It's our job to motivate you and educate you on certain things. And then, of course, there is a personal motivation that comes with this as well. And then there's a bottom 10 to 20% that just, I guess, don't really care. It's kind of an unfortunate reality. Sometimes those students are pretty far gone. And that's okay. I suppose, actually, no, I take that back. That's not okay. I think apathy and indifference is quite a dangerous thing. So that being said, the 10% is responsible for taking care of the 40 to 60%, I suppose. So what does this have to do with post-secondary education cuts? Well, as I said, being a part of student organizations, just 2 weeks ago, myself and some other people in the Meliorist and the Lethbridge Public Interest Research Group got together and we approached the Students' Union and said, hey, let's do something about these post-secondary education cuts. Let's form a protest. Let's take some buses and go to Edmonton. And I mean, I guess we kind of waited on to see what the U of A was doing, and it's the game of always, like, hurry up and wait. You have all these plans in one day, and then you have to wait a week to see if things are really going to work out. I mean, do we have the budget? Do we have the people? Do we have the volunteers and manpower necessary? So instead, we organized a Media Blitz Day. And that was the day, I think it was two days later, we had this all organized. And we set up tables, and we had students approach us and let them know, did you know that there are post-secondary cuts happening right now? Do you know what PSE means? And I mean, that was often a surprise to me, is that a lot of people didn't know what PSE meant, post-secondary education. So I mean, this is giant education in trying to teach other people. It was one of the best examples that I've seen in student organizations sort of coming together and getting involved. Because oftentimes I think that student organizations are so busy just working internally, just trying to do their own day-to-day things, and whether they're producing a radio show, CKXU, whether they're doing peer-to-peer counseling in the Women's Center, and whether they're producing a paper every week. These student-led organizations they're just busy, right? And I think that the groups want to work together as often as they can. But when you can't give 110%, sometimes it's just not worth doing. Something you could say. So I have seen examples of events and campaigns in which student organizations have worked together. And the common thread for these events is recognizing a common threat. So a common thread like post-secondary education cuts. Sorry, I'm just catching up here. I think we're seeing this already. Tomorrow we have buses scheduled to take students to Edmonton to protest these cuts. And this is helped and organized with the Students' Union and LPIRG. And I see one of the lead organizers sitting in the front row, which is really cool. You know, and this is in part of student-led organizations getting something, doing something about this, and you know, sort of, like I said, lending that olive branch to students and saying, you know, these are things you should know about, this is things you should care about, and here's a vehicle to get involved. So, of course, it's things like these post-secondary education cuts that occur at really inconvenient times. Not that there's ever like a good time for financial crises, but sometimes I speculate that these things are purposeful. When I worked in the SU last year, I remember that the election you know, occurred at a time when students are busy. I mean, we're writing papers, we're trying to wrap up our degree here, and you know, we're doing labs and things like that. You know, why does this always happen? And there's lots of pressure on student organizations to do something, because they're supposed to be the ones that are teaching the 40 to 60, right? And I think we're trying. I think we're trying. So if I can get personal, just have a little heart-to-heart, and I can't tell how many times I've said that at the mic, kind of a little age to age. I've often felt in terms of, I've often felt that I've had to get very defensive about why I've gone to post-secondary, why I've gone to university specifically in the first place, rather than maybe not the trades, maybe not supporting the bread and butter of this economy, oil and gas, right? You know, why would you do a Bachelor of Arts, and why sociology of all things? And I think it's exhausting, and it's a very exhausting thing to have to constantly tell people that this is what I've chosen to do. I've gone to university, I've taken sociology, it's the way that I choose to engage in the world. I mean, I always had the idea that maybe I would, maybe I made a mistake. And maybe I should have, you know, done something to sort of play a part in the economy of this province. That maybe I should have gone into trades, right? And I'm not so sure anymore if any student can get it right in Alberta at this point. I mean, I feel like even if I went into the trades, maybe it wouldn't have mattered. The colleges are hit, and the state's been hit. And I haven't always been an Albertan. My family and I moved from Halifax 15 years ago to Alberta, the land of milk and honey. And I always thought that I wanted to participate in this economy and sort of give back, right? I don't feel from what I'm seeing, the province right now is giving me the opportunity to do that. I don't feel that I'm, you know, being allowed to sort of give back. Then I graduate this semester, and I wonder what happens to my degree after I leave. And does it get useless? I mean, does it mean anything to have a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology in this province anymore? It's a really scary time for students. Just in closing, I remember a student speaking up at the Town Hall Forum at the university a few weeks ago. Mike Mann and Danny Hagan had sort of spoken about, you know, university administration and what was really going on. And there was a student that spoke up, and she said that she was very scared. And she also said she didn't feel like she was being heard. She felt that she was extremely, extremely uncertain about her future in this province. And I hear that. And for me, this is one of the loudest messages that I heard. And in closing, I think it's part of the student organizations to let students like that know that there is something you can do. You know, there is a bus you can jump on